Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
Sean, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
It's been what feels like forever.
I know, right? It was just February.
I'm telling you, that seems like it was like 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, Sean, oh yeah, I talked to him in December and then I talked to him in February and it feels like just forever, but it sounds like things are going good. I want to catch up a little bit. What's been going on since February?
Like it's for actually it's crazy because I actually caught COVID.
You caught it?
And yeah,
Oh my gosh, how are you feeling?
I mean now I'm good. I was down for about so my family all together we were pretty much quarantined the whole month of July and August because I caught it and nobody else caught it.
Oh
And
my.
so I was isolated in my room. So then when I started feeling better, I went to go get retested. The whole family got retested. My son and my nephew tested positive.
No.
Yeah. So pretty much for 2 months we were just isolated in quarantine. I mean, so it was but I tell people it's real, wear your mask. Definitely wear your mask. So but I did actually did 2 deals since February, and they
What?
literally all came off of DealMachine postcards.
Woo! Okay, tell me about them. Like, so were they before or after you were out for like 2 months?
One was before and one was after.
Okay, so kind of tell me how that played out for you. I know a lot of people watched your interview already, but like,
Mhm.
what was the process of getting there to that, going through the whole thing kind of thing?
Um, One, I sent them a postcard, and he called me up, and I said, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood right now. Do you mind if I come by and look at the property?" And he says, "Well, I live next door to the house."
Oh,
Uh, So I went into his house and he showed me a stack of postcards about this big that other people were sending. And he was like, "Hey, I just started calling." He was like, "You're the first one to answer the phone."
what?
So I was like, "Okay." So I wound up getting that under contract. Uh, there wasn't a big spread because of the ARV and how much work needed to be done.
Hmm.
I'm licensed. I'm a licensed realtor as well. So what I told my cash buyer, I was like, "Hey, give me 3,000 up front, and then let me get the listing on the back end." And then he was like, "Okay, sounds good."
That's some wholetailing, I believe. That's some good
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
getting that in there. And did he had he owned the property for a long time? Was he trying to rent it out? Like, what was his story?
He bought it. He owned about 7 houses on that street.
Oh shoot.
He bought he bought that house to rent, and he was in the middle of remodeling it. Somebody broke into the house, stole all his equipment, and vandalized the whole entire house. So
Oh,
he was so he was like, "I'm done in the real estate game." He was like, "Hey, just take it."
poor
So
guy.
I was just, yeah, I know.
He's like,
Uh,
I'm it. That's it. But good, then you could help him. You
exactly.
got him
Yep.
what he needed.
Yep. So I targeted that area a lot. So I mean, I already knew what the ARV was by the time he called me. So I went there, already had a price in mind, and we broke it down. I already had a cash buyer, and I pretty much used the same cash buyer most of the time. Um, because like I said, if there's not a big spread, sometimes he'll just give me the listing on the back end as well.
That's
And
so
then
nice.
I usually hang around him a lot. So I go with him to, pull permits, ordering floors, all that stuff. Just so when I see the right property that I'm going to flip, I already have all my processes down pat.
Oh my gosh. So you get like a mentor and a buyer off of it. Like, that's amazing.
Yep. And the biggest news I didn't tell you, which has been 2 weeks now, I actually moved to Atlanta.
What?
Yeah.
So now
So
you're in the Atlanta market?
so I'm in both. Uh
Okay.
I'm never leaving my Charleston market because I've built my business there.
You know it.
So
You know it
yeah,
like back
exactly.
and forth.
Exactly. I still have over 300 leads in my deal machine from like driving for dollars and stuff. So I'm I actually trained one other wholesaler.
Uh-huh.
I walked him through his first 3 deals. So now when I get a deal, I could just send him over there to, lay eyes on the property, and then we'll just JV it.
Perfect. You just like made yourself some boots on the ground to like actually, and that you can trust because you literally
Exactly.
taught him what to do.
Exactly. I took him like his first deal. I helped him sign the contract. I took him to the closing attorney, introduced him to the closing attorney, all that, and so he's done about 3 or 4 deals. He actually did a subject to deal as well.
Wow, he's getting into creative financing. Interesting. Yep. He's already just fully loaded, just going for it.
Yep.
So you moved to Atlanta, and so now is this deal in Atlanta, or is this one still in?
No, this one's in South Carolina. Okay. This one I came about a month ago. Well, I got on the contract a month ago. We just closed Monday.
Congratulations.
That's why, because I had told you about it, and then next thing you know, last Thursday or Wednesday, and we were supposed to close that Thursday, and then it kept getting pushed back. I was like, I shouldn't have said anything.
You jinxed it. You done jinxed
it. Exactly. So Monday, the closing attorney called me and was like, hey, where do you want your check wired? I was like, oh, we closed? And he was like, yeah. So that one, I was on a treadmill at the gym. The phone rang because I have a separate sideline number for the business. And that I know when that phone rings, you need to answer it. And it rang. Guy said, hey, I wasn't thinking about selling my house, but what do you got to offer? I was like, okay, went over there. And the one time I would say PropStream failed me was actually a good thing. Because when I pulled up the comps, he said PropStream said $170,000. But when I looked into the MLS, the comps were at 230.
Wow. That's a good difference.
Yes. So I told him, I was like, sir, with these comps, I was like, the most I could offer you is maybe 125. But that's before I saw the MLS comps. But then when I went home, I was like, let me pull this up with the MLS. The comps should be a little higher. And I looked, I was like, whoa. But I wound up getting a $10,000 assignment fee. It was supposed to be $15,000. But I kind of felt bad because the comps are so off. And then he had an $8,000 judgment that he didn't know about.
Ooh.
So I was just like, hey, take that out. I was like, I could have gotten, 20,000 off of it. But I was just like, nah, I mean, like my whole thing is I don't want to take advantage of distressed owners. They're already in distress. So I told them, I said, take that 8,000 and, and I'll take 10.
That's what I love though, is that the people who succeed in this business are the ones though that are genuinely there to help people, not take advantage to get the biggest assignment fee. And it'll come back to you.
Exactly.
So yeah. I'm so glad that you could help that guy. Do you still have your wonderful picture on your postcards?
I sure do.
Okay, good. Because I reference it all the time. Because people are like, what kind of picture should I put? And I was like, well, don't do like a regular headshot. I know this guy who does like you're on the bench. And I was like, I always remember your picture. Because I'm like, he looks professional, but he looks laid back. And I think you said in your interview at We Live that someone referenced that and said like you looked friendly or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then like on my postcard, I have, because as a licensed realtor, you have to acknowledge that you're a licensed realtor.
Right.
And then, another big thing I haven't talked to you, I actually retired from the Air Force June 1st.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you were, you had said you started in November last year or something like that because you were, yeah, because you were still working. Well,
yep.
Congrats. Is that like good that you?
Yeah. I retired out. Yeah, I wake up I get a paycheck every month, retirement check. So.
All right, never mind. Congrats. That is a congrats. That is for sure a hey, happiness all to you.
Yep. So, yeah, that's pretty much been going on. I have two more because what I actually, since I don't know, I think I said this on the interview. I despise cold calling. Like, I hate it with the absolute passion.
I hear
But
you.
the only times I cold call is my own DealMachine leads. Like, I'll export it and then I'll skip trace it. I'll send a text message blast first, and then if nothing happens, I'm like, okay, let me call.
You're like, oh, now I really got to do this.
Exactly.
But it always like but you said those last two, they called you, right?
Yes, they called me.
Okay. Is there a certain time period you wait after? Like, do you wait until that first postcard hits to like send the text?
So the first postcard hits, then I send a text.
Okay.
The second postcard hit, then I'll do a phone call. And then I'll say, hey, did you get a postcard from me? I'll joke around. I'm like, I'm the handsome guy in the suit,
There we go. People take notes. You got to like be really, but even though you say you don't like cold calling, that's like perfect though. Cause that like warms it up to where you're just like, oh, this guy's nice. Like I wouldn't want to yell at you.
Yeah. Or hang up on me. You might hang up on me, but.
I might hang up, but I would at least, I wouldn't go off and be like, oh, you think you're fancy, do you? Or something like that. I wouldn't say anything like that. So are you doing this full time then since you retired?
Yep.
And you're in a new market. So how are you going about getting into this? Or are you putting most of your focus still in Charleston? Or are you doing it?
So my plan is to put most of my focus here in Atlanta. So finally I got into my house, unpacked all that. And Monday, I actually started driving for dollars here. Try to do about an hour to 2 hours a day.
Perfect.
Since, I am full-time now, so.
Yeah, so now it's like creating that schedule to like get everything in and done and trying to figure out your market. I mean, so how,
exactly.
For people who are going into a new market, how are you going about trying to figure out those pockets that you need to go to? Like, are you just driving or what the?
I go on all the investing Facebook groups.
Ooh,
and I see where deals are going. I see some people will put the properties and the area, ARV, asking price. And I literally just sit there and study that. And then also, that's how I started getting some cash buyers. Because I'm seeing people put list of property and say, hey, I want this. And you see everybody throwing their emails in. So I'm just sitting there writing their email down.
Here we go. Start a spreadsheet.
Exactly.
I love it. And I just am so excited because the next time I'm going to talk to you, you're going to be like, well, and I got 2 closed in Atlanta. And Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, is probably more competitive since it is a bigger metropolitan area.
Yep, that's why I love driving for dollars so much because first of all, I saw the property with my own 2 eyes. I know it's some type of distress, and I love the cards that come back to me undeliverable because they're definitely getting.
What do you do with them? What's your process?
They definitely getting phone calls.
Yeah. You're like, so when you get one back, you're like, and here's a cold call I got to do, but it's actually lukewarm. So
exactly.
You can be like, oh, I tried. But how do those calls usually go?
They go both ways. Do I have your for sale sign in front of my house? Those. And then some are like, hey, everything is for sale if you give me the right price. And
yeah. Oh, that was
some
good.
people.
That's good.
Yeah. And then other people just like, no. But if I saw that it was distress, like I'm definitely marking that off. Like, hey, I'm gonna recircle back in a month or 2.
I love it.
And I'll keep an eye out. Those I'll keep an eye out on them to see if anybody sold or bought them. And after the month goes by, they're gonna get another phone call or a text message.
Yeah, they are. My only other question I have for you is you said you have a different number for your business. Do you have a lot of people have been asking me about this, but what do you use? Do you just buy another phone line? Do you use Google? What do you use?
Sideline.
Sideline. I've never heard of that one. So what does that entail?
Sideline is just an app that you can download, and you get an extra number on that same exact phone for $9.99 a month.
Okay.
And that's what I use, because I started with the Google number, but then, you know, when you call, it says the Google voice number. I didn't want it to sound like a business. I wanted it to be personable. So I did the Sideline.
Okay, awesome. And then, I said I only have one more question, but I have another one. But when you're cold calling, do you leave a voicemail on the first time, or how do you go about following up if they don't answer that cold call?
If they don't answer the phone call, I send them a text message.
Okay.
And say, you know, I have in my notes, I have canned text messages. So I'll just go there, copy and paste, and just put it right into a text message and just say, hey, sent you a postcard, or try to give you a call. Just give me a call back when you get a chance.
Okay, awesome. Short, sweet, simple. It doesn't like overcomplicate anything.
Yeah, I don't try not to mention the house too much. Just to say, hey, I'm a realtor and an investor. Saw a property that you might own. You know, the regular mumbo jumbo that, you know, they tell us. Did you
have an issue going from, and I don't know how the real estate agent licensing works, but going from one state to another, like, was there any conflict there, or is it just like very seamless? What brokerage do you have to go? Is it like, how'd that go?
So when I moved to Atlanta, just like when I was in Charleston, I said, hey, told the broker, I said, hey, I do wholesale. I am an investor. Do you have a problem? I had 2 or 3 of them say, you can't do that here. So I was like, well, nice meeting you. You're not the broker for me. And I left, and then I found one. And he was like, hey, cool. He was like, matter of fact, I want to learn how to wholesale. I was like, okay.
Shoot. Hey, that's awesome.
Yep.
You could build out a whole team in Atlanta eventually. Heck.
Yep. That's one of my things to do, to get my broker's license, and then open up my full real estate agency with wholesalers, flippers, just everybody. Because a lot of the old school brokers, they still look at wholesalers like, oh, you just out here taking advantage of people. I'm like, no, I'm helping them. I'm like, there is a distressed house, which means a distressed homeowner, which they need help.
Mm-hmm. No, that's amazing. We were actually having more people that are real estate agent brokers that are building their team out with their agents, and then having them have drivers, and so they can all basically just building an empire on top of that. Because now there's the whole tailing of things, like you said, where you can list it instead of, if wholesaling doesn't make sense, you have that other option, which makes you more of a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly. So. And I always, me listing it is always the absolute last option. Right. But, you know, if I'm talking to them and we can't come up to a price, then I'll say, well, you know, I can put it on the market for you.
Awesome. I love it. And then are you okay if I share your social links if anyone from Atlanta wants to reach out
definitely.
And connect?
Definitely.
Okay. Cool. Now, you already have a hat from us, correct? Did I give you a hat?
I don't. No, you didn't. What? Yeah, I was, you treated me like the redheaded stepchild. You didn't give me one.
I have never heard that in my life. That was great. All right. I'm going to get a hat and a t-shirt. So I'll send you an email with a link that will have you just go through it, and then at the end, it'll comp everything out.
Okay.
But thank you so much for scheduling this. And I'm so glad we got to talk again, because I only see you, talking on the live, and that's about it. But
I always say, hey.
I know. And I appreciate that, because it's a really lonely thing when you're just talking to the camera and you're just like, is anybody out there?
I mean, somebody's going to see it sooner or later.
I know. I love hearing this and learning from you, and especially you being in this new market. I can't wait to hear what kind of things you go with now that you're virtual for Charleston. You're working with your JV partner. Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you again. And I hope you guys stay safe, and I'm so glad you're healthy.
Yeah, that sucked for, 2 months. And that's why I always tell people, man, just wear your mask. It's not worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much again. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye-bye.